Well-known economy magazine, The Economist, moved cryptocurrency issue on its pages almost 30 years ago. The experts commented that The Economist's 1988 edition mentioned Bitcoin, as on its cover an eagle was printed, which stands on different burning banknotes and holds a coin on which 2018 date appears. Bitcoin slowly becomes popular worldwide, especially it is often used instead of weak currencies in countries with high inflation. The cover of 1988 edition writes, "Get ready for a world currency," which can mean that the cryptocurrencies will take place of national currencies, and according to the prophecy, 2018 will be an important year.
How's your bank account looking these days, folks? Apparently, Americans they're up a little bit. And they're up in large part because the stock market up about 31 points right now on the big board on a Friday. And when massive foreign trade deals are made, they are done in U.S. dollars, which serves as the world's reserve currency. Now the UN is backing a plan to change all of that and create a new global currency. If that's the case, what does it mean for you? David Lee Miller is live in New York. David Lee, good morning to you. How serious is this idea?
Right now, it is not very serious, but it still poses a threat to the U.S. This, of course, is what we're talking about, the U.S. dollar. And who doesn't love the U.S. dollar? Well, as you point out, apparently some economists at the United Nations, they issued a recent report at the UN Conference of Trade and Development just a few days ago. And that report said that part of the world's recent financial crisis is to be blamed on trade imbalances as well as the current system of currency and capital rules. But like it or not, Bill, the dollar remains the most popular currency in the world. It is the standard by which all other currencies are judged. When you trade commodities anywhere in the world, what do they use? They use the U.S. dollar. Beyond that, just about every country has reserves in the event of a rainy day, and those reserves are U.S. dollars. Why U.S. dollars? Because they are seen as the most stable. But critics point out that developing countries that have dollars are essentially giving the U.S. an interest-free loan. And now, if the UN were to get its way, that would be not only a blow to U.S. prestige, but it could also cause problems with the economy if trillions and trillions of dollars theoretically were to be poured into the world economy. Niall Gardner of the Heritage Foundation points out that the UN, with this report, is essentially just taking another swipe at the United States. Here's what he had to say.
This is certainly a direct assault by the United Nations on American global power. This is certainly an effort, I believe, to try and undermine the dollar as a global currency. And the United Nations does have a long track record of anti-Americanism. This is just the latest example of the UN taking a swipe against the United States.
And one other very quick concern, the chorus against the dollar could grow if, as some critics say, the Obama administration continues to increase the U.S. deficit. But if there is going to be any change, Bill, it could be years or even decades away.
Moving the world to a cashless society.
Yes.
Now, this month, January 2018, is the 30th anniversary of the publication of The Economist magazine's front cover, the issue in January 1988, and it was dedicated to the coming global currency. And they had, we're going to show the front cover of The Economist magazine. It's January 1988, 30 years ago this month. And it said the coming global currency, and they had a phoenix bird.
Right.
And there was a chain around the bird's neck.
Yes.
And there was a medallion. And this gold medallion had a date. It said 2018.
Right.
And the article said, watch out for the phoenix. The phoenix is coming. The phoenix is the name of this future global currency, and it would appear sometime around 2018.
And this is a real publication, a real article, but if you try to go online and find the real article, the original article, guess what? You can't find it anymore.
Right.
They've pulled it down.
Yes.
Thankfully, there's the archive and everything that we can
Doc, I'm going to tell you something. I can assure you that True News, we were the first alternative news organization that talked about that article 15, 16 years ago. You know, we've been doing True News now since 1999, and I know that I was talking about it at least 15, 16 years ago. And we published that front cover on our website back then to show people the phoenix and this prediction of a global currency,
Right.
and a world central bank that would appear by the year 2018. Now, one of the fascinating things, Edwards, is the front cover, this phoenix bird, its feet was in a pile of money.
On fire.
The money was on fire. Paper money, fiat money, it was the dollar, the Japanese yen, all the currencies of the world, they were on fire. 2018. Now, The Economist magazine is owned by the Rothschilds.
Yes, yes it is.
Is it possible that the Rothschilds and the Simpsons both know the future? Because the Simpsons know a lot of stuff too.
Yes, a lot of stuff appearing there.
We know, based off of studying this meeting that we were attending in the coming week, that these concepts, these predictions become self-fulfilling prophecies if you're working every year toward that common goal.
Yes.
And in this sense, Rick, the phoenix, it was described as not just a shared universal currency, but in a sense a digital medium of exchange, but one that would come when the United States was waning. One when the system, the current reserve system, which right now that's the dollar is the global reserve currency for the world. The article laid out that it would come during a time of turmoil, a time when countries would clamor for freedom. A country would try to get away from central banks and maybe get the freedom to actually exchange in one currency versus, as we've now seen, a basket, which is our current system.
You mean like a Bitcoin?
Right. A lot.
Like a digital, virtual Bitcoin?
Where they have the freedom, you know, of being able to trade across various currencies and not be controlled by the central bank, or at least have the appearance of not being controlled.
I want to put on the screen some of the quotes from that 1988 article. What's the first one?
Well, the first one, and Rick, I just have to point this out, this was only days after I was born. This is when this article was published. I was born on December 19,
I just felt
1987,
right.
Days after I was born. This was published. The beginning of the article, 30 years from now, Americans, Japanese, Europeans, and people in many other rich countries, and some relatively poor ones, will probably be paying for their shopping with the same currency. Prices will be quoted not in dollars, yen, or D-marks, but in, let's say, the phoenix. The concept, Rick, of having this universal currency was being discussed 30 years ago.
With an implementation date of 2018.
The thing was, though, they didn't have, not even the Bitcoin, Rick, the blockchain technology, the ability, and this is the concept right now, the real strength behind these cryptocurrencies, Rick, is the networking capacity and the shared ledger built into a technology called blockchain. These currencies would not exist, would not function without this. 30 years ago, they didn't know what this currency would be, what would make this currency happen, but we're now in 2018 when this technology could potentially bring this into a reality.
Let's see the next quote. We have about 3 minutes before the J factor.
The next quote is, as the next century approaches, the natural forces that are pushing the world toward economic integration will offer governments a broad choice. They can go with the flow, or they can build barricades. At the end of the article, it states, it is a growth-crippling prospect. Pencil in the phoenix for around 2018 and welcome it when it comes.
Well, those are frightening words. Welcome it when it comes.
So, are they right on schedule? Is there a financial crisis coming in 2018 that's going to ignite a fire in all the currencies of the world? If that's true, then this year we have an event coming that is going to set the economic system on fire.
We may literally hear the agenda, the unified agenda for all major countries to follow, which could bring this into fruition.